Welcome! This video will take you through 6 ways to win a queen in chess, 3 for white and 3 for black. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first trap is played in the Tennison Gambit. The game starts off with e4 and d5, initiating the Scandinavian defense. White plays knight f3, the Tennison Gambit. After black takes on the pawn, we attack it by moving the knight to g5. Black defends with knight f6. Here, white plays the pawn to d3, in order to get rid of the annoying pawn. We recapture with the bishop. In order to kick our knight out, black will most probably attack with pawn h6, however, we surprise black with the move knight takes on f7. Black will have to take in order not to lose material, but we strike black with bishop g6 check. This opens up an attack on the queen, however black cannot save the attack as the bishop gives a check. Black takes and we take on the queen, winning a queen and having a 3-point advantage. The second trap is played in the queen's pawn opening. White starts with d4 and black responds with d5. White plays e4, which initiates the Blackmar-Daymar gambit. Black takes and knight c3 is played, attacking the pawn. Black defends by playing knight f6. The annoying pawn on e4 limits the development of certain pieces, therefore to remove it we play f3. Most probably, black will take on the pawn, to which we will recapture not with the knight, but with the queen. That leaves our pawn hanging on d4, so black will take on it. We attack the queen with bishop e3, so the queen is moved, preferably to b4, where black can pin the knight to the king. To unpin it, white castles queenside. In order to attack the white queen, the most common move played is bishop g4. From here, it can get terrible for black if not played correctly. We first surprise black with the move knight b5. If black takes on the queen, we have mate in 1, knight takes on c7. The d-file is fully controlled by the rook, therefore the king can't move. On the other hand, if black does see the threat, the only way black could save it is by taking on the knight, to which we can take the queen with the bishop. The final trap for white is played against the Sicilian defense. The game starts off with e4, and black responds with c5. Here, white gambits a pawn by playing d4. Black takes and the c-pawn is pushed a square forward. Black also takes on this, to which we recapture with the knight. In this position, white is ahead in development. To regain some of the center squares left, black may play a move such as knight c6. White plays knight f3, controlling the e5 square. Black would want to play knight f6, however, if played, the knight will be attacked by the pawn, which would furthermore limit black's development. So, instead what black could play is d6, defending that square. We develop the bishop to c4, eyeing the f7 square. Now, black may play knight f6, however we surprise them with e5. If the knight takes, we take with our knight. Black will most probably recapture with the d-pawn, however that will prove fatal. Bishop takes on f7, king takes and we take on the queen, putting white up in 7 points. Now, onto the traps for black. The first trap is known as the Albin counter gambit, which is played against the queen's gambit. It starts of normal as to how the queen's gambit would start, however once we reach move 2, black plays e5. The majority of players take on the e-pawn. We push the pawn forward, limiting the development, so to remove the pawn, white will play e3, to which we will respond with bishop b4, which is a check. White blocks with the bishop. Here, in this position, we take on the e-pawn. The bishop is pinned to the king with our bishop, so white cannot take the pawn, so instead they take on the bishop, which, in their vision, they see it as a hanging piece. However, we take on the f2 pawn, giving a check. White is tempted to take the passed pawn, however the queen will be left hanging, so the king moves, still protecting the queen. Here, we play the brilliant move, under-promoting the pawn into a knight. This gives the white king a check. The rook takes on the knight, and bishop gives a check, pinning the king to the queen, and eventually winning the queen. The second trap for black is played in the king's gambit. After e4, e5 and f4, we play the move d5, counter-attacking white's gambit. Most players take on the d-pawn, so after the pawn is taken, we push the pawn to c6. White takes and we recapture with the knight. Here, we've got normal development on both sides. Now, on move 7, black plays knight f6. White, thinking they have the upper hand by having a double attack on the c6 square, takes on the knight. Black recaptures with the pawn and white takes on it, checking the king and attacking the rook. We block with the bishop and here white takes on the rook. This move leads to white losing their queen. We play the move bishop g4. The queen is stuck and has no piece to block the attack. So white will play a desperado move, which is queen takes on g4. If you are unsure on what this word or any chess terminology means, be sure to check out my previous video. 25 top chess terms every player needs to know. Anyways, back to the trap. After queen takes the bishop, we can take the queen back with our knight. Here, black is up 4 points, ahead in development and has a passed pawn. The last trap is known as the Blackburn Shilling Gambit. This is by far one of the most effective traps anyone can play. It starts of standard e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 and bishop c4. Now, we play the rare move, knight d4. We hang a pawn on e5, so white will capture it. Black will attack the knight with the queen, however white will play knight takes on f7, which is protected by the bishop on c4. To evade the fork, we will take on the g2 pawn. White defends by playing the rook to f1, then we take on e4, giving a check. If white blocks with the bishop, we have mate in 1 after knight f3. So, instead to evade the situation white will block with the queen. We simply take on the queen with our knight, and take on the other knight with our king, leading us to be 11 points ahead in material.